My 21F boyfriend, 22M, watched two strippers have sex and then told me I was overreacting. TW. There is a description of some sexually explicit acts that is necessary to understand the context. My 21F boyfriend, 22M, went to his best friend's 22M bachelor party yesterday, at which there were some adult performers, strippers. This was not the surprising part because we had multiple conversations about what I was comfortable with before he actually went to the event. I initially told him that I wasn't comfortable with him going at all. But after some more talking, I decided that it would be fine as long as the strippers were relatively tame. He didn't touch the performers, and didn't receive any sort of sexual act like a lap dance from one of the strippers. He agreed and even offered to text me updates throughout the night. Overall, I wasn't thrilled, but I wanted him to be able to share a special moment with his best friends. He didn't check in with me last night, but the next morning, I woke up and texted my friend, 21F, whose boyfriend was also at the party, and asked her about her thoughts. She told me a bunch of new things that I didn't expect or initially agree to. For example, she told me that the strippers inserted a double-ended dildo into their vaginas and put dildos on some of the guys' heads and inserted the dildos into their vaginas. Fun fact, I think this is called unicorning, haha. It is important to note that he didn't get a dildo put on his forehead. But I just think this is so much further than what we initially agreed to. We ended up getting into a big fight, and he basically told me that I'm overreacting. He even told his mom, and apparently she's putting the thought into his mind that maybe he shouldn't be with someone who is so fragile and would throw away our relationship over such a small thing. Obviously, to me, it wasn't a small thing. And he doesn't seem to understand that. I'm frustrated that he wasn't the one who told me what happened. I don't want our relationship to end over this, but I'm unsure how I'll be able to move on and truly forgive him. I feel like a small piece of me will always be bothered. Should I forgive him and move on, or should I just break things off now because my boundaries have been crossed? TLDR. My boyfriend watched two strippers have sex with each other, and it made me uncomfortable. Instead of apologizing initially, he claimed I was overreacting. I don't know if I can forgive him. If something your SO does crosses your boundaries and they disregard or invalidate your feelings, you don't have to stay with them. It just means you both have different boundaries, and you deserve someone who sees eye to eye with you and vice versa. If it bugs you, break it off. If not, let it go. Emo. He followed your rules for allowing him to attend. He didn't touch and didn't participate in any sexual acts. As for how tame strippers were, he had zero control over that. Yay, he could have left, but I don't think it's fair to have expected that. As another post said, it is important to note that he didn't get a dildo put on his forehead. Out of context, actually even in context, this is a hilarious phrase. Hold up. How did his mommy get involved with your relationship problems? Wow. That's the biggest red flag of all. To be fair, he didn't perform any sex acts or get any lap dances. He just watched. He also didn't leave when the show got freaky. I mean, I understand that neither of you expected the show to be that intense. Don't blame you there. This is the first I've heard of unicorning. But he followed the rules as stated. I think he should have checked in. And it's not productive or appropriate to say you're overreacting. But in the grand scheme of things, this isn't the kind of thing I'd break up over. It's definitely something to keep an eye on though. Being able to discuss disagreements and boundaries without invalidating each other is important. If this becomes a pattern, you shouldn't put up with it. It's not like he choreographed the activity. You agreed to strippers. No touching. Which is what he did. The rest is subjective. Did you expect that he leave? I wouldn't be comfortable with my wife going to parties with male strippers. So I would not even think about going to a party with strippers. You two have different values. I don't believe the relationship would work long term. Jesus, there are way too many people on this thread acting like watching other people have sex is a normal everyday activity. It is not. It isn't even supposed to happen at strip clubs. It happens in porn and places where there are many rules and consent is both asked and given for. Any touching or watching people have sex in person is a form of participation, especially if you are the ones who caused that sex to happen. That's way over Op's stated boundary. So far outside that it wasn't even a consideration in the discussion. Leave Op. He's gaslighting you. Was he supposed to stop the party as the morality police? Run and hide in another room? He does not have control over what other people do. He did not engage in any physical activity. You are overacting. I mean, I feel like you didn't really give him the chance to tell you. You texted your friend before you spoke to him. And from the sounds of it, the other guys did things that he didn't. Which means he respected your boundaries. Did he touch them or get a lap dance? No. So where exactly is the issue? He can't really control what the performers or people around him do. He can only control his own behavior, and it honestly sounds like he did. Woman shrugging. He's obviously comfortable being someplace where things like this go on. You're not comfortable with it. That alone speaks of incompatibility. You're not overreacting. You're unhappy that his values don't align with yours, and that's understandable. That's creepy. Just leave. His mom sounds a bit, what's the word? There are men out there that won't do any of that stuff. Go find one and you'll live in peace. Your boyfriend has no control over the conduct of third parties. So it's not fair for you to hold him accountable for whether the strippers were tame or not. The boundaries you set that were within his control. No touching and no sexual interactions, lap dances. He observed. Also curious if the wife-to-be is totally cool with this? Because I would be so icked. You two have different values. Maybe think of splitting up. But then again, what if the shoe was on the other foot? Ask him if you go to a party of one of your girlfriends and they're male strippers, he would not mind. If you and your friends got involved, it would be a small thing. What would his mom say then? To be honest, if he still runs to mommy for guidance, maybe you should let mommy boy out to pasture. In my opinion, you kind of are overreacting. He attended a bachelor party and watched a thing happen. He didn't seek this out or organize it or ask for it. He had no control over what kind of performance the strippers were doing. Did you want him to excuse himself and go sit in another room alone or something? He may have told you about it if you gave him a chance. But he also may have not wanted to because he knew you would react like this. The only thing he has done wrong here is not checking in with you throughout the night. You trying to get him to not attend his best friend's bachelor party is a boundary cross also. You are both being unreasonable here. I think too many people are glossing over the fact that he told his mom about it. If anything, that might be the biggest red flag here. EWEWWWW.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.